From the outside looking in, it can be difficult to tell who the abuser is in an abusive relationship. It can look roughly symmetrical because the victim's behavior can somewhat mirror that of the abuser. This is why intent, power dynamics, and patterns really matter. Victims in abusive relationships are subjected to near constant provocation, destabilization, and coercion. So you can imagine how this could lead to some self protective reactions. Let's talk about some ways that this can show up. So I think that one of the most common ones would be escalation after a prolonged period of baiting by the abuser. So this can look like the victim just really exploding and appearing hysterical or crazy, or like they're really going off and screaming at the abuser, maybe name calling. Just it looks like an overreaction from the outside, and a lot of times the abuser can look very calm in comparison, and they tend to feed off of this. This tends to be what they want, is to get this kind of reaction from the victim so they can then turn it around and weaponize it against them. Another one can be victims just shutting down and withdrawing completely after a period of prolonged conflict, and it can look a lot like emotional punishment or stonewalling, but the intent is a lot different. A lot of times they've basically just gotten to the point where they completely shut down, or they're afraid of interacting. They're just trying to avoid getting hurt more. Or another one with co-parenting after a relationship has ended, the victim may not be agreeable to suggestions or co-parenting with the abuser. They may be kind of non-responsive and cold and gray rock and say no to things because they are so used to having everything weaponized against them, that knowing that every inch they give, the abuser is going to take a mile. And from the outside looking in, it can look like they are the ones who are being difficult. Now, these are just a few examples, and this can show up in many different ways. I think that the point here is just to illustrate that it can be dangerous to judge a book by its cover, and this is part of the reason that these relationships are so confusing and so difficult for the survivors to heal from, because they thrive in this gray area. There isn't really a strong sense of clarity, and a lot of times victims just are not believed by the people who are close to them.